Story 1. The Forgotten Hospital. On the outskirts of the city stood an old, abandoned hospital. Once, it was one of the most advanced medical facilities in the region, but after a mysterious fire, it was closed. Rumor had it that the fire was caused by an evil spirit that lived in the hospital. Since then, the building became a place of legends and scary stories. A group of friends, Sergei, Ira, Maxim, and Olya, decided to take up the challenge. They had heard stories about the abandoned hospital for a long time and decided to see if there was really something supernatural there. The idea arose at one of the parties when everyone was trying to come up with something unusual and exciting. Sergei suggested, "Let's spend the night in that hospital and record everything on video." Ira and Maxim supported the idea, and Olya, although reluctant, agreed. The next evening, armed with flashlights, cameras, and backpacks with provisions, the friends set off for the hospital. The gates in front of the building were rusty and partially closed. They squeezed through a small opening in the fence. The building looked sinister. Ruined walls, broken windows, and silence that reminded of the past. They entered inside. The corridors of the hospital were filled with remnants of furniture, medical instruments, and spoiled documents. The friends began exploring each room, recording everything on cameras. Olya noticed that the walls were covered with strange inscriptions that were impossible to read. Maxim stopped near an old elevator when he suddenly heard a child's cry. He ran to the friends and told them about it. They heard the cry again, this time together. The sounds came from the operating room on the 3rd floor. Sergei decided to go there, although Olya insisted it was dangerous. They climbed the stairs and entered the operating room. On the table were the remains of old surgical instruments, and on the walls were bloody handprints. Suddenly, all the doors closed with a loud bang. The friends were trapped. The flashlight lights started flickering, and the friends saw shadows moving around them. Sergei raised the camera and began filming everything that was happening. The shadows turned into ghostly figures of patients and medical staff. Ira screamed when one of the shadows approached her and whispered, "You can't escape." Sergei tried to find a way out, but the doors remained locked. Maxim felt something cold embracing his shoulder. He turned around and saw the ghost of a doctor staring at him with empty eyes. Olya fell to her knees and began to pray, but the ghosts did not disappear. Sergei tried with all his might to break the door, but to no avail. Ira found an old key on the floor and tried to open the door. They finally managed to escape from the operating room, but the ghosts followed them. The friends ran out of the building without looking back. They never returned to that hospital again, but since then, each of them began to notice strange phenomena in their lives. Sergei heard whispers in his room. Ira saw shadows in the mirror. Maxim felt a cold breath on his neck, and Olya woke up from terrible nightmares. They realized that the evil spirits would never leave them alone. Several years passed, but the memories of that night stayed with them forever. The friends realized that sometimes it is better not to deal with what is hidden in the darkness, and although they never returned to the abandoned hospital, their lives were changed forever. Story 2. The dead don't stay silent. On the outskirts of an old city stood an abandoned morgue, once part of a large hospital complex. In the 1950s, this morgue was renowned as one of the best places for forensic autopsies. But after an unfortunate incident in the mid-60s, the morgue was shut down. Rumors spread that the body of one of the patients was cursed, and since then, paranormal activity began to occur there. A group of historians and researchers, Marina, Oleg, Viktor, and Katya, decided to explore the morgue. They found old documents and records of its activities, but much remained unknown. Marina suggested organizing an expedition to the abandoned morgue to learn more about its history and possibly uncover the cause of the paranormal phenomena. Oleg and Viktor were thrilled by the idea, and though hesitant, Katya ultimately agreed to join. They arrived at the morgue late in the evening, armed with flashlights, cameras, and notebooks. The building looked dilapidated and overgrown with vines and shrubs. They entered through the main door, which was partially ajar. The air smelled stale and damp. Long corridors were filled with decayed furniture and medical instruments. They began exploring each room, documenting every detail on video. In one of the rooms, they found an old autopsy log containing records of all the bodies examined there. Oleg noticed one particular page detailing a patient who had died under mysterious circumstances. While inspecting the next room, they heard a faint whisper. Katya stopped and listened. The whisper grew louder, and they realized it wasn't their imagination. In one of the autopsy rooms, they noticed shadows moving along the walls. Marina turned on her camera and began recording everything. The shadows transformed into ghostly figures standing around the autopsy tables. Katya screamed as one of the shadows approached her. Viktor tried to calm everyone down, but felt something cold touch his hand. All the doors suddenly slammed shut with a loud bang. They were trapped. The flashlight beams began flickering as the spirits moved closer. Marina captured the shadows on video while Katya started praying. Oleg found an old notebook with entries by a doctor who had worked at the morgue. He discovered that the doctor had experimented on the body of a patient he believed to be cursed. The notebook detailed the doctor's attempts to lift the curse, only to fall victim to it himself. Viktor found an old key on the floor and tried to unlock the door. They managed to escape the autopsy room, but the ghosts continued to follow them. The friends ran down the corridors, searching for a way out. When they reached the main entrance, it was blocked. The shadows drew closer, and the friends felt an overwhelming chill of terror. Suddenly, they discovered another exit through the basement. They ran out of the building, never looking back. They never returned to that morgue again, but since then, each of them began experiencing strange phenomena in their lives. Marina heard whispers in her room. Oleg saw shadows in mirrors. Viktor felt cold breaths on his neck, and Katya woke up from horrific nightmares. They realized that the malevolent spirits would never leave them alone. Years passed, but the memory of that night stayed with them forever. The friends came to understand that sometimes it's better not to meddle with what lies hidden in darkness. Though they never returned to the abandoned morgue, their lives were irrevocably changed. Thank you for watching the video. I would be grateful for a subscription and a like.